functional medicine practitioner Claudine Francois. I empower women entrepreneurs by sharing solutions for health on my show, Healthy Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine. Hello and welcome to Healthy Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine. Thank you so much for being here. If you are here to learn how to find your unicorn space for joy and health with best-selling author Eve Rodsky, you are in the right place. Now, many of you know that I'm a functional medicine practitioner, and if you are a driven woman seeking to reclaim boundless energy and radiant health, I invite you to book a call with me. Let's uncover the mysteries of your health and create a personalized plan for your journey to vitality. You can visit the link below to schedule your free call and start thriving today. All right, let's get to today's show. Today's guest is Eve Rodsky. Eve Rodsky is a Harvard-trained organizational management expert and the author of the New York Times bestseller Fair Play, which gamifies domestic workload and relationship dynamics. Her second book, Find Your Unicorn Space, Reclaim Your Creative Life in a Too Busy World, explores the cross-section between the science of creativity, productivity, and resilience, aiming to inspire lasting change in the equality of personal time choice. Can I get an amen out there? Eve's work is backed by Hello Sunshine, Reese Witherspoon's media company, whose mission is to change the narrative for women through storytelling. I am so excited to have Eve come up. Eve, welcome to Healthy Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine.
Hi, Claudine. So good to see you.
Oh my gosh, likewise. I am thrilled to have you. You are such a wealth of information and support for women. I cannot wait for my audience to hear all of the amazing things you have to say. But I'm going to start by asking you the first thing I ask all of my guests, which is, what does a healthy, delicious lifestyle mean to you?
I love that question so much. For me, it means understanding and centering the true definition of mental health. I actually think a lot of our discourse has been hijacked by this idea that we could always have to be happy, Claudine, or that we can sort of gratitude journal ourselves to death. And so instead, to me, a healthy, delicious lifestyle is understanding that being happy is not being mentally healthy. Mental health is anchoring ourselves in having the appropriate emotion at the appropriate time and also having the ability and strength to weather it. And so that is a healthy, delicious lifestyle to me. It's living with anger and rage and resentment, a lot of the feelings of midlife and stress, but understanding that those are appropriate emotions and they're usually happening at appropriate times, but that I can also have the strength and the ability to weather those emotions.
Oh my gosh, that is an amazing testament. I love that. I love what you just said because mental health doesn't often figure into our conversations around health. And I feel like it is a
Right.
very underserved area.
Yes.
And especially for women, especially as we're dealing with all of the things that we deal with, work, children, family, all of the things, our mental health tends to be the first thing that suffers. And then it cascades to other areas of health. So thank you for reminding us of that.
Thank you.
And let's get to some of your tips. Your tips are amazing. And I want to say that a lot of these came from your second book, Unicorn Space, which is so fabulous. Our book club read it this past year. I absolutely love it. I'm not letting it go. No one gets this copy.
Yes.
I will send anyone a free copy if they want, but this is mine. So your first tip is engage in an activity that feels meaningful and brings you joy. Health is compromised when our lives are all work and no play. How is our health compromised when we do not have meaningful things that bring us joy?
Our health is 100% compromised when we are only three things. Women often are allowed to be parents. We're allowed to be partners to others. We're allowed to be professionals, but we're really not allowed to be anything out of those three roles and boxes. And typically, the reason why our health is compromised is because we tend to hoard stress because we are unavailable. We are not unavailable to others. We believe that we have to be available to others. And typically what that means is that we're dealing with stress overload. And so what Unicorn Space is really about is this idea, Claudine, that women especially deserve a permission to be unavailable from our roles. That when we are unavailable from our roles, when we don't pick up with the school calls, when we don't show up for every single winter sing that our children are part of, when we don't answer necessarily the work call to order the boss's birthday cake, that it's okay. And a true boundary is understanding that no one else has to do anything except for uh, be who they are. But a true boundary only is when we center the fact that creativity is not optional and we deserve a chance to be interested in our own lives.
Hmm.
And that is a true boundary. A true boundary is being interested in our own lives consistently.
And this reminds me of something you said in your first book, which I also love. I became Fair Play certified. I loved it so much
Yay!
because I
Yes.
knew how important it was for women to have this information. You
Yes.
said you get to be interested and interesting.
Mhm.
And another thing you touched on in that sentence right there about us having this almost like an infinite amount of time. It's like women's time is seen as infinite, like grains of sand. It never runs
Yes,
out.
yes,
So we can
right.
ask them for everything under the sun. But it isn't true. We only have 24 hours in any given day, just like everybody else. And
Correct.
we need to be very conscious of how we choose to use it. Otherwise, we could suffer the mental health consequences and then later the physical health consequences.
Well, we see that. We see that now. We're starting to do real quantitative research on this, but the qualitative research that we've found over 10 years with Fair Play is that women shoulder two-thirds or more, Claudine, of what it takes to run a home and family. And that unpaid labor, what is often called the mental load, the second shift, invisible work. I talk about that a lot because we've seen and followed women over 10 years. And what we see is that when women work full time for pay or even part time, or they're working not for pay, but they're doing everything in the home, those three scenarios, they're getting sick. They're getting
Mhm.
physically ill, which is why I love your work so much. A lot of doctors who are not functional medicine experts are blaming it on early menopause. They're saying that to women who are 30, but really what's happening is their adrenal glands are getting overloaded. The cortisol is too high. It's what we call the mental load. We cannot shut our brains off. Whereas maybe men get, say, 3 4 hours after their day to decompress, watch a show, practice what they love to practice. Women do things in service of their homes till their heads hit the pillow, often 2 hours after the rest of their families go to sleep. And that's why we're getting physically sick.
That is so much. I think a lot of people have not heard that information before. And it is so touching. I get chills when you say it because
Yeah.
not in a good way, right?
No,
Because
no,
it is
no.
information that I think so many people need to hear in order for us to make change. I know we could talk about that a
I'll
lot.
just say we're the ghost of your Christmas future. You do not have to do it the way we did it. We have laid out the map for you, understanding you are
Yes.
breathing polluted air. You're breathing polluted air. We get that, but you still deserve a chance to breathe. And we are
Mhm.
helping you to do that. We are here for you.
And I will say you have these great cards, which I
Yes.
love. So for anyone who wants to know what these are more about, send me a message. I will tell you they are, and they will also be on your website, I imagine, which we'll talk
Yes.
about
Yes.
later.
We have lots of free resources on the website.
So good.
Absolutely.
Okay, so your next tip, no one will give you permission to have moments of time and space for flow. You must gift that to yourself. Eve, are you saying that my kids aren't just going to let me take a nap when I need it? What?
Kids, if you have children or you're thinking of children, understand that people in surveys say they would rather get a root canal than hang out with their children. Children are the opposite of flow. They require so much stimulus response, so much attention. And in fact, not just with children, but women during the pandemic, there was one Time Use survey that showed women were interrupted, Claudine, on average every 3 minutes and 42 seconds. So if you want to have a flow state is being lost in an activity where time literally flies by. I just spoke to a woman who said that for her, it's tango. When she practices the tango with her partner, she could be dancing, practicing steps, and all of a sudden she'll look down, an hour has gone by. That does not happen when we have children, partners, and workplaces that want us to be consistently available. And they are shocked and angry when we aren't. So instead, what we have to recognize is that that's the society we're living in. And you will get sick if you continue to abide by those rules of society. And that's why fair play and unicorn space, they are a movement to reclaim our time, to set a true boundary and understand that again, as I said earlier, a true boundary is not a walk around the block. A true boundary is not saying I'll take a vacation once a year. It's understanding you deserve consistent permission to be unavailable from your roles and consistent permission to be interested in your own life.
Yes, and you have so
Yes.
many good stories of this in your 2 books, and because we're short on time today, I will invite anyone who is interested in hearing. You have some hilarious, funny, sad, you have all kinds of stories from your own life, as well as many, 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 many of the people that you have worked with and surveyed for your books. So they are so
Yes.
good. Please, whoever's listening, check them out. All right, your next tip. Getting your unicorn space on improves cognition, motivation, and reduces stress and inflammation. Tell us more about that. That sounds great.
So let's just say that we're talking about something that's called a unicorn space. You may think that that's a very strange name. So, what is it? It is a space for you that is magical, but doesn't exist just like a unicorn unless we reclaim it. We do not call it a hobby because hobbies connote infrequency. What a unicorn space is not a self care practice. As much as you love Zumba, that is great. It is not unicorn space. As much as you love your friends, which is also important, going out to dinner with them is not a unicorn space. A unicorn space is a practice where you are feeling curious, where you are feeling connected and sharing yourself with others, and where you complete something.
Mm.
So that space of being curious about something, connected and complete. One very, very specific example of someone who did get cognition, motivation, and stress reduction was a woman who told me that she decided to jump into the Atlantic Ocean as a polar bear. So let's see if it checks off unicorn space. One, she was curious about what it would feel like to jump into the Atlantic Ocean in the winter. Two, she found a group. She connected and shared herself with others. She connected with a group called the Polar Bears of Far Rockaway or somewhere in a suburb of New York.
Mm.
Three, she completed it. She signed up for the group and she actually showed up and did it on a Saturday morning when guilt and shame could have prevented her because she could have said, what is this frivolous, weird thing I'm doing? I should be with my partner and my child. So that is a true definition of unicorn space: curiosity, connection, completion on repeat.
So good. And I bet that cold water really reduced any inflammation she had in her body
Absolutely. Absolutely.
too.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe we should all just join a polar bear group.
So good. And just for anyone who is interested, I do have a free Facebook group if you want more resources, some community of like-minded women. I am starting this in January, so please do click the link below. Oh my gosh, Eve, we have time for one more tip. One more tip. And this one I put in quotes. This is an exact quote from your book. I get chills every time I read it. You are complicit in your own oppression when you willingly put yourself and your time second or last. Ooh, that one, it sounds a little harsh, Eve, but tell us about that.
As we said earlier, we understand that you're breathing polluted air, that society is conspiring against you to stay within those roles of being a parent, partner, and professional. But at some point, we have to take agency for our own lives. And taking agency for our own lives are setting boundaries for ourselves that understand and recognize that when you set a new boundary, I'm not available on Saturday mornings because I have my polar bear group. Everybody else in your world, whether it's your workplace or your kids or your partner, are not going to be cheering for you and setting off fireworks and saying, amazing job, Claudine. I'm so happy you're unavailable. You're going to get pushback. You're going to get people that feel uncomfortable with your new boundary. And so, what I'm saying is that we are complicit in our own oppression if we let that discomfort affect our decision making.
Oh, so powerful. So powerful. We can create our own lives.
Yes,
We have
yes.
the power to
We
decide our
have
own
the power to decide our own lives. Understanding, yes, it would be easier if we had things like paid leave and universal childcare and ways that helped women make more time for ourselves. But we don't. And so we have to understand that we still need to set that boundary for ourselves, leave people's discomfort with them, and continue to move on and live our lives in a way that makes us physically and mentally healthy.
Yes, I'm ready to do my Wonder Woman stance.
Yes, yes, yes.
Amazing. Oh, Eve, I could ask you questions all day. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I so much appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yay. And so where can people learn more? Where can they find more about you? Where can they find these wonderful books and resources?
I would say the best place is just on Instagram. You can follow us at Fair Play Life. You could always DM me at Eve Rodsky. My team answers on messages. And fairplaylife.com has a lot of free resources if you're interested in learning more.
Yay. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to drop you in the green room, grab a mocktail. I'll be right back.
Great. Done. Bye.
So good. Oh my goodness. Was that not amazing? Thank you so much for joining us. And how are you going to create a healthy, delicious lifestyle for you today? Until then, join me for another episode of Healthy, Delicious Lifestyle with Claudine next Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific or 11 a.m. Central, and have a healthy, delicious lifestyle. You can learn more about my services and products at ingoodcleantaste.com. Be sure to join me every week on the SWE Media Network YouTube channel and wherever you listen to podcasts.